Okay, so there are some parts of this lesson that if you chose to do exactly as I instruct, could be challenging, could be difficult, especially if you're struggling with any neck issues or low back issues. But even if you just moved, like I've often said, just an inch or two, just in the direction, just the suggestion of the movement, you can get fabulous benefits from waking up the parts of the body that will respond to these movements. So everybody lying on their backs, please. And starting with a scan, just feeling the back of each shoulder blade, right and left. Feeling for any differences that you can detect just from lying here now. Feel the back of your lower ribs, so just below your shoulder blades on the left and the right. And as you breathe in and out, can you feel any changes in pressure into your back? Does it change any more? Is there any more or less pressure on the right or the left with the inhalation? Have a sense of your lower back and how much it curves away from the floor, or doesn't curve away from the floor, but usually there's a little lessening of pressure. Just sense that. And again, you can have a sense of both the right and left sides of the low back. Sometimes when you're first sensing for differences and it's very subtle and you can't quite tell, you can just sort of guess. You know, if I were to guess, I think my right side is a little higher from the floor than my left side, or something like that. It just starts to make those neural connections. And feel the back of your hips and buttocks again. Just sensing any differences from the right and left sides. And finally, just notice as you breathe in and out, notice the amount of expansion you get in your chest, in your ribs, in your abdomen. And is there any sense of breath into your sides, the ribs on your sides, into your armpits? And then please bend each of your legs, knees, one at a time, so your feet are flat on the floor. Just play with the place of comfort and stability for your feet to rest. And place both your hands down at your side with your right hand palm up. So resting on the floor, but your palm facing towards the ceiling. And just gently slide your right hand downward towards your foot. But you don't need to touch your foot or try to get that far, but just the movement of sliding a little bit downward and then back to the middle. Feel that gentle sliding. Notice what you do with your breath. Notice what happens in your shoulder, your neck and your head. You can even feel the ribs on your right and left sides. You can allow your head to move a little bit. Good, and then just pause for a moment. And then bring your right hand over over the top of your head. So your elbow's kind of over the top of your head, and your right hand is coming down towards the left side of your head, maybe towards your left ear a little bit. So you're kind of circling your head with your arm and hand. And as if you're going to hold on to the left side of your head with your hand, so the palm of your hand is resting there. And very gently, again, really listening to what's safe and comfortable for your body, begin to take your arm and slide your head a little rightward. And what you want to do, the back of your head will really slide on the ground. You might have to lift it just a little bit because you're not going to rotate. You don't want to turn your head to the right. You want to keep your face facing the ceiling as you slide your head a little to the right and back to the middle with your right arm. So your elbow goes down to the right, your shoulder goes down, feeling what happens in your ribs. This is a side bending motion. Notice your breathing. And you might even feel, does anything happen? You're doing this movement with your arm and your head, but is there any sense of participation in your pelvis or your legs? And you can imagine as if your ribs were like an accordion. As you slide your head rightward, the ribs on the right side get closer together. The right shoulder's coming closer to the right side of the pelvis, whereas the ribs on the left side are opening and expanding. Just see if you can kind of get that sense. And you might even be able to help and support the movement with bringing some attention to those ribs. And then just let your arm rest at your side again, and just pause, keeping your knees bent. And then again, go back to the first movement, your right palm turned upward towards the ceiling, and just sliding your arm and your hand down towards your right foot. And really letting your head slide if it's able, feeling the movement in your ribs, letting your breath stay full and your tongue stay soft in your mouth. How light and easy can you do this? And again, for some of you, you may just be imagining the movement. You may be just moving a centimeter or two, and others of you may be really finding an approximation of your right hand towards your right foot. And when you've done that several times, just take a rest, and if it's comfortable for you, you can let your legs down long, or you can keep your knees bent, whatever's most comfortable. And just feel how you're lying on the floor now. Feel the right side and the left side. Begin to notice changes may be easier to sense. Just by asking our brains to attend to our body in this way, to sense these subtle movements, changes happen. And I think I've said this before, the brain gets curious. What are we doing? Where are we going? What's this about? What does this mean? And all of those little questions in the brain are extremely stimulating. And you're accessed into a whole new area of your brain, which often is either, like I said before, sleepwalking while we think and think and think our day away, or our lives can often be so overstimulating that we're in a subtle or moderate level of fight or flight much of the time, just reacting to the intensity of life. So through these movement lessons, if nothing else, we relax that fight or flight response and get into this creative, open, questioning, problem-solving, healthy area of our nervous system. So again, this time bend just your right knee. And just begin to gently press into your right foot and notice that your right hip begins to lift a little bit. And just play with that a few times, really feeling the connection, how the foot connects solidly into the floor, feeling the right leg and hip joint lifting the pelvis, and you'll feel a little rotation of your pelvis leftward. Notice if you can feel anything happening in your ribs with that movement. What happens in your right and left shoulders? Try, if you can, to keep your knee facing or pointing generally towards the ceiling, so not rolling leftward. So you're really pressing and lifting the right side of the pelvis up. And feel what happens through your spine up into your neck and chin. Can you feel how the head pulls a little bit? The chin might come downward, closer to the throat a little bit. Breathing. Good. And then just pause again for a moment. And scoot your right foot out to the side, just 3 or 4 inches or so. And bend your knee so your foot is as close to your body as is comfortable for you. And now with your right hand, palm up, continue the movement, sliding your hand towards your foot. And some of you are going to be able to reach your foot and actually place your heel in the palm of your hand. And others of you are just going to imagine. So again, no need to reach it. You will get wonderful benefits from the lesson without holding onto your heel. But if that's easy and light and comfortable for you, then give it a go. So in this position, with the approximation of your hand to your heel, or your heel actually in your hand, just begin to lift the front of your foot up and down. Just kind of playfully, you can change positions of the foot. Check out where your head is, see if you can take any better care of your neck. Make sure you're listening. Lifting the front of your foot up and down, holding or imagining holding the heel. And play with the speed. You might lift it very slowly. Just feel the connection of the leg up to the pelvis, through the spine. Or you might really tap your toes quickly. And then let your arm come back to your side. And lengthen your leg out. Might give your body a little wiggle so it feels a little more symmetrical on your pad. And take a full rest. And Feel your breathing now as you feel your chest, your ribs, your abdomen. Are there any differences that are more noticeable now between the right and left sides of your chest? Any differences in how you feel your back resting on the floor? What about each of your arms, the weight of your right and left arms, your right and left legs? And please bend your right knee up again. And take a few times to slide your right arm down to either hold your right foot or come into some sort of approximation for your ideal imagination of that. Let your head slide a little to the right. Let your right shoulder drop down. Find a way to be comfortable in this position. And then gently begin to press through the right foot to see if you can lift the right side of your pelvis just a little and set it back down. And try that several times. Pressing through the right foot so that the right side of your pelvis lifts a little off the floor like we did before. So you get that little bit of rotation leftwards. And some of you might find that as you press through the foot and let the pelvis lift, that you actually can slide your hand down a little further. But again, only if it's comfortable, only if it feels light and easy. And then continue lifting and let your knee go a little leftward as you lift. Might allow you to lift the side of the pelvis a little more. Make sure you're breathing. Let your jaw be soft. And then as your knee comes back up to the middle, your pelvis comes back down to the floor. Let your leg down, bring your arm back to your side. Just pause for a moment. And then one more time, bend the right knee up. Slide the right hand down towards the foot. And for those of you who were able to place your heel in your hand before, see if you can put the middle of your foot in the palm of your hand now. And again, for those of you who can't, no worries. Imagination is a powerful, powerful tool. And being kind to yourself, if you are one of those who is unable to reach your foot, is almost more important and powerful than achieving the goal. So if you've got your midfoot in your hand or you're imagining it, begin to alternate lifting the front of your foot and the heel of your foot. So you're just lifting back and forth, but a part of your foot is always touching. The heel is touching when the toe lifts, and the ball of the foot is touching when the heel lifts. So just playing with alternating, breathing, feeling, listening. Good. Lovely. And then let it all go again, lying on your back, feeling. In my training, we coined the term flinking, feeling and thinking. Seems like a good Feldenkrais word. So what I'd like you to do now is to take your time to gently roll to your sides and come up to standing. Just to really sense yourselves. I promise you this will not be a one-sided lesson, in case you're getting anxious. But I do want you to have the experience of really feeling yourself in a gravity, weight-bearing position, and just to see what you notice. Because truly we do life in sitting and standing much more than we do it in lying down. So once you get up to standing, just stand for a few moments and really feel the difference between the right and left sides. You might feel the length of your right and left arms, the position of your shoulders. You might notice where your weight is. Do you feel your weight more shifted to one side or the other? You might play with shifting your weight, a little left and a little right. Feel the differences in the sides. Good. And then just take a short little walk around, feeling what walking feels like. And you might also feel what turning is like. What's it like to turn all the way around yourself to the right? And what's it like to turn around yourself to the left? So if I left you like this and you tried to get out of the parking lot, you'd always be, making a right-hand turn? You'd never go anywhere? All right, come back to your mats, please. And lie down. Just reconnect with the ground, support of the floor. I think I spoke of this last time, but it's worth hearing again that if we were to end the lesson now, it actually is a wonderful, stimulating brain challenge. So the part of our brains and minds that think it should be even and which should be equal and, oh, this is horrible, would be superseded by the part of our brain that is interested and curious and is actually striving to create that equilibrium. So bend each of your knees, please. Find a comfortable position for your feet. And let's just start with imagination. As some of you may know, many studies have been done with visualization, and powerful improvements happen in physical performance through just the act of visualization. So it's worth cultivating the capacity to imagine good movement, fun movement, healthy movement, as well as healthy engagement in life. So turning the left palm upward towards the ceiling, first just think about the movement of sliding your left hand and arm down towards your foot. Imagine how your shoulder would move. Imagine what you would feel in your neck and in your head. Try to really think it fully through 3 times. Imagining sliding that left hand further and further towards the left heel. You might even sense just microscopic movements that get activated with your imagination. And then with your imagination, alternate a few times as if you were sliding your right hand down towards your right heel and feeling in your imagination. It might feel easier and simpler from all of the movements we've done on the right side, even in your imagination. And then just imagine it to the left and alternate that 2 or 3 times. And then lower your right leg down, keeping your left knee bent. And again, just imagine pressing through your left foot, feeling the connection of your leg to your pelvis so that the left side of your pelvis and hip begins to raise a little from the floor, just in your imagination. Feeling the pelvis rotate to the right. Imagining the sensations in your spine and your ribs, your shoulders. And then actually try a few of those movements, pressing through your left foot, letting the left side of your pelvis raise and lower, feeling into the ribs, to the shoulders, to the neck and head. While you press through the left foot, can you imagine the lengthening of the left arm simultaneously? Then let the pelvis rest. And continue the imagination of the left arm sliding farther and farther down. You might go ahead and place your left foot out to the side a few inches. Bend your knee as far as you can comfortably. And first just imagine the movement, sliding the left arm down, letting your head tilt leftward. And one more imagination to tease you a bit. Bring your left arm over the top of your head so that your hand is reaching around and holding on to the right side of your head, maybe near your ear somewhere. Your head is sort of cupped in your arm. First, just imagine sliding your head leftward with your arm. So the back of your head is sliding on the back of the floor. Your face is staying pointed towards the ceiling or facing the ceiling. First, just imagining sliding, imagining what that's going to feel like in your shoulder, in your ribs on the left, coming together and opening on the right. And when you've imagined that several times, then go ahead and have your arm up over your head and begin sliding your head leftward. Left knee bent, slide the head to the left. And you might even feel a connection all the way down through the spine, the ribs, the pelvis. Without even trying, you might feel the pressure change under your left foot. And if it's easy, you could combine the movement, sliding the back of your head, taking your elbow down to the left, gently pressing through the left foot and feeling the ribs opening on the right side towards the floor, coming together on the left side, just like an accordion. You could even imagine as you bring your head down to the left and lift your pelvis up, Imagine breathing into those right ribs, just opening them wide. All the way along the side, all the way up. The ribs go way up under the armpit. Just feel that opening there. And then just come back to the middle. Pause for a moment. Let your head go. Rest your arm down to your side. You can let your leg down. Just begin to feel if things and sensations on the left side are beginning to change. And again, bend the left knee up. And this time let yourself experience sliding that left hand downward towards your left foot. Place your left foot a few inches out to the side. Just sliding, feel the back of your head sliding, your shoulder dropping. And notice, does your attention stay on the left side, the left arm, the left hip, the left foot? Or can some attention also go into the opening and expanding on the right side? And just play with reaching down towards your left foot, holding the heel or the middle of the foot, or imagining what would that feel like to have that flexibility to reach down to my foot. And can you let go of the idea, the goal of it? If you're not able to touch it, can you have just as much pleasure and enjoyment of spending this kind of quality time with yourself? And when you're in that approximation, just begin playing with lifting the front of the foot and the heel and different parts of the foot. Just play with moving the foot around, up and down. Maybe a little side to side. For those of you that can hold your foot, see if you can actually take your arm and slide your foot around a little bit. Maybe side to side or up and down. Just play with that foot a little bit. Can't you just imagine like a 1.5-year-old lying on the floor, discovering their foot, doing funny things with it? I believe Moshe Feldenkrais was inspired by infants and toddlers with a lot of these movements. Although very, very little is written about his wife, she was actually a pediatrician physician. All right, bring your arm back up to your side and let your leg back down long and take a full rest. Feel your contact with the floor. Enjoy the support of the floor. Enjoy your life, your body, your sensations. And then one at a time, bend both knees up. Interlace your fingers and bring your hands behind your head. And with your arms and your hands, just slide your head rightward and leftward. Let your shoulders and your arms go with you, rightward and leftward. opening one side of the ribs while bringing the other ribs together, alternating and feeling that movement all the way through your pelvis and into your feet. As you slide your head to the right, you might feel a little pressure through your right foot. As you slide your head to the left, maybe add a little pressure through your left foot. So the whole body is side bending from your feet to the top of your head. And then relax your arms, your head, your legs. And feel your breath. See if you can sense your inhalations and the pressure behind your shoulder blades and ribs into the floor. Can you feel your breath into your sides, the left and right sides? How do you sense your breath in your chest, your abdomen, your lower belly? And let your arms rest at your sides if they're not already. And then take your time, rolling to your side, coming to sitting and then standing. See what it's like now compared to halfway through the lesson. After standing for a while, just take your time to walk around, shift your weight, turn a little left and right. Just be light and playful.